The crisis for airlines is deepening as more countries close their borders to foreign visitors, and carriers worldwide are being forced to make sharp cuts. And their stocks have come under heavy selling pressure. Singapore Airlines down by more than 10% and Air New Zealand down by more than 19%. The world's biggest international carriers have announced drastic measures as passenger demand nosedives and governments curb travel. Emirates will stop flying passengers for 2 weeks starting Wednesday. Airbus says it's cancelling a planned dividend for 2019 and also abandoned its earnings forecasts for the current year. Other major carriers, including Delta and American Airlines, now they're waiting for a bailout package. Over in China, the government has lowered fees and might approve mergers of struggling smaller airlines with bigger state-backed carriers. And how long will it take for the sector to fly out of turbulence? Shukor Yusof has 2 decades experience as an aviation journalist and analyst. He's also the founder of Endau Analytics, an aviation analytics firm based in Malaysia. Shukor, thanks for joining us. So, when countries close their borders to foreign visitors and discourage their residents from flying, that's a terrible blow for airlines, that goes without saying. And already some are cutting capacity by 95, 96%. And, at Emirates are stopping completely for 2 weeks. How long do you think they can afford to actually let their planes stay grounded?
Well, Glenda, as you know, this industry is very much dependent on the travelers worldwide. And so we are facing an unparalleled situation as far as the industry is concerned. Aircraft are meant to be flown. And as long as they're on the ground, they're not making money. The burn rate is very high for the companies. And this virus has brought about sort of despair and destruction has been wrought about, into the industry that we've never seen before. How long it will take, we really don't know. It could last for months, and that is very dangerous for the industry because longer it goes, the chances of airlines collapsing become even more real.
With that in mind, Shukor, will governments be stepping in to sort of help out their airlines?
I suspect so. In the United States, the government has already announced that they are coming in to support the American carriers with over $60 billion US. And I think without that support, which may not be enough, to begin with, the airlines will not be able to operate or will not be able to sustain their businesses. And jobs will be lost, and it would put everything in disarray for months and even years. Here in Southeast Asia, I think we're also expecting governments to come in. Singapore Airlines, as you know, today the stock price has reached 536, which is unparalleled. Never heard anything like this before. So I would imagine that the government would be looking very, very closely at this. This is by far one of the best, if not the best carrier in the world. And I think if any airline needs support right now, it's Singapore Airlines.
Shukor, let's look back. How does this situation actually compare to the industry crisis in the wake of 9/11 and also the 2002 to 2004 SARS, though?
I think 9/11, SARS, even the financial crisis of 2008, those pale in comparison to what we're experiencing right now. And so the death and the destruction that this has brought about is unmatched, unrivaled, and it's anybody's guess how long this will last. And so we're in totally uncharted territory, and I guess every airline is trying to survive.
Given that, Shukor, that we don't know how long this crisis will last for, are there some airlines that you think are sort of better positioned to cope than others?
Well, as I mentioned to Glenda earlier, I think Singapore Airlines, with its very solid management, very strong business model, and very solid balance sheet, is in far better position at the moment than many, many carriers around the world. Having said that, this is an airline that is also going to struggle, having just announced 138 aircraft that's going to be grounded, and that's really a need for help from the government and perhaps from its creditors to come in and say, This airline is going to need a lot of financial help. The jobs on the line, and the supply chain, as well as the economic benefits that it brings about to Singapore. I think everything has to be considered.
All right, you mentioned there we're in uncharted territory, but we will get this vaccine under control at some point. And when we do, how do you think it will change the industry and travel as well? What lessons do you think the airlines will actually pick up from this whole incident?
I think what will happen after all this is, when all is said and done, when this is all over, I think we will see a new sort of a world order for the airline industry. We will see many carriers owned by the government, because the governments are the only agencies, the people who have the resources and the money right now to come in and bail some of these companies out. And so we will see a completely different landscape, if you like, in the airline industry, where there will probably be fewer airlines today in the next few years, because many airlines would have capitulated, would have gone bust in the next few weeks, months. And so the mindset and the psyche of the business, everything's going to change forever.
All right, thank you so much for your perspective there. We've been speaking with Shukor Yusof. He's the founder of Analytics, an aviation analytic firm based in Malaysia.